Changing speeds for this week's upload. Andy Plummer is half of the Stack and Tilt team. The information on hand, it's awesome. It's something that you can grab on as a golf coach. And as you go through this week's upload, you're gonna see that the people watching were listening intently. Well, they're some of the best coaches in California who come to see Andy Plummer demonstrate. I was I'm fortunate enough to get up there and have a golf lesson with him and his assistant on the day, which was truly fantastic. I'm even here now hitting balls, working on those things that he said to implement certain shot direction. We talked a little bit about how to get rid of the pull shot, what your release should look like, but also some teaching facts that you need if you're out there learning about the golf swing that can help you. As players, our coaches can help us, of course, here on the range with a launch monitor and with a camera. But when you get out on the golf course and you're hitting those golf shots, it's on you as a player to self-diagnose what is going wrong, which is why I'm a big believer that you must understand about the face-to-path relationship and how you can impact that as a player. That is why I love Andy Plummer, and I actually requested to get this live lesson with him. So be sure to follow along. This is mint. Apologies a little bit about my audio, but it was a video that was so close to my heart that I wanted to go ahead and put it up there. So that's no reflection on Q-Mondo behind the mic. He isn't the one who did the microphone work for this. Yeah, that's my bad, but I know that the diehards out there will want to see this information. Get down in the comments. Enjoy.
Andy. Chris, I know you.
Yeah.
I feel like I do anyway.
How are you?
Nice to see you. Okay, so I'm at a tournament. Guy like Chris comes up. Hey, Andy, let's hit some balls. I got a couple questions. First thing I'll do, will you grab the camera? First thing I'll do is grab my camera, have Chris hit a few. How about a 7? Let's do a 7. 6 is good. You're a professional. Okay, Chris, bang a few out there for us. What would you call that, Chris? How would you describe that? That's what I was going to say. Thin? Yeah.
I'd say tight ball cut if I'm being harsh.
Okay.
But I'm over the moon with it considering I stood there.
Yeah, yeah. Nice one. Nice draw. I didn't get it, of course. One more time, please. A little bit behind. That pull draw or no? I can't tell from here. Everybody? Yeah? Okay. I couldn't tell. Did it curve? Just a pull. Touch of a pull draw?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty standard for me.
I see it.
Or hold the face on the drive.
Gotcha. One more from posterior here. I didn't see it. Gina, what do you got?
3D.
Pull draw. Okay, that's 6 balls. One thin one when he started. One chubby one. 3 pretty good shots. They're all pretty good, right? They're respectable shots. A good player. Professional type player. I'd say the last 3 balls were pull draws.
Yeah.
And then I might ask, I'd say, well, when you play, how would you define the dispersion of your balls or your shots? What would you say?
So, in an attempt to fix the pull draw, aim right and then hit a push that doesn't draw, or start to overdraw and miss left.
Okay, so I was listening to his solution for a pull draw. Gina, why is the ball curved to the left? Face is closed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so before I ever look, I have an idea standing back here watching of what to look for. So if I were to just take you for a second here. So hopefully we can get this on the screen. If not, you can just listen to the description and Gina, I'll have you demonstrate. I'm going to pull up a model here. How many of you guys use models in your teaching? Do you compare your swing to someone else? You know, you pull up a pro to use as a comparison. The other thing I noticed is that as those pull draws, part of those pull draws is that they tended to get lower.
Yep.
By definition, which would indicate to you that the face is closed. So I have 2 observations just by watching. First, I'm going to draw a line here. I'm viewing this from the posterior, from the back. I've got the camera from the back. And I'm drawing a line here on your spine. So if you put your back to everyone, thank you, Gina. So if I were to measure the right hip, spine is the midline, and I measure the trail hip, I would say that the right hip should move to the midline. So when you swing back, you see how Gina's hip moves to the midline. So I got this picture here, if you look, and you see how the belt moves to the midline.
Yeah.
And when I watch yours, I think you short that a little bit with the hip turn.
Okay.
So I think the hips don't turn back much. Then I think your shoulders turn but your hips don't. The over rotation of the chest without the tilt makes your head start to go in tilting back, coming down.
Yeah.
Here's the midline. Okay, the shoulder is in Charles' swing is past the midline. In yours, when you didn't turn the hip much, right, the shoulder didn't move as much. So, as part of that, the swing would get shorter.
Yeah.
Which would hurry it up a little. The second thing, so I would say there's a little more angular momentum that you could get and learn to use the parts equally a little bit better. And that would, in some, that would give you more height.
Okay.
Is the shoulder retraction and the right hip to the midline. The second thing on the pull draw is why does the ball curve to the left? Gina, why does the ball curve to the left?
The face is close to the shaft.
Biological problems are solved in nature in very specific ways. Overdraws are solved very specific ways, right? The face is closed to the shaft, too much curve. So if I took a model here to help you see, without a model you might not see it.
Okay.
It might, well, that looks okay. When you swing back, you're flattening your wrist. You're flattening your left wrist and closing the face to the shaft. So if you look, the face there is closed to the shaft. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I'd do, if we were practicing, we go back and start warming up, is if I wanted to slow down the overdraw, Gina, why is the ball overdraw?
Face is too close.
Face is too close to the shaft. So if I wanted a reference point for that, I would use the logo on the shaft. Like, sometimes there's a Golf Pride or a label on the shaft. And with the setup, you see how it's facing the axis, facing me. When I come through to the finish, Chris, you see how the logo would still be facing me. And what I'm saying is that when you're coming through, the face is turned over too much. As such, if I keep the label facing me, right, you see how the club face would be facing backward more coming through. So that would be keeping the dorsiflex that you had at the setup on the finish as opposed to palmar flexing it and supinating and pulling over too much. So when I'm chipping, let's say I want to subtract that built-in draw that I have. Chris, if you stand right back there, watch the finish. You see how the face is back more on the finish. You see how that little built-in draw came out there. That ball went straight up the addressed plane line, didn't curve. And that was me feeling as though coming through that the face was back more, or said another way, the tailor-made on your glove was facing up, coming through as opposed to turned down. So if I want to slow down and overdraw, that's the first thing I would do. So you just chip a couple like that? Yeah, just chip it.
Ready?
Not yet. Go ahead and do one. I'll get the second one. Okay, so straight up the address plane line. Maybe if the push is a little wide there for me, but no curve, right? A touch of a cut, and I think that's probably why you might be slow to go down that avenue, right?
Yeah, I've had big right misses, which is why I've tried to change it down to.
Okay, so that's going to lead me to my next part. Hang on just a second. I'm going to hold a club here this time. And I'm going to say on the finish, ready, watch. 3, 0, arm, face back. Yeah.
Face back to me.
Yeah. So the 3 and the 0 is going to take the push out. Yeah. The push is from the stuck, and the tilting back. Yeah. So let's just chip that for a second.
There.
Yeah. Chip it. Yeah. One more time. Pardon me?
That was better.
Yeah. Again. Okay, come look at that now. That left wrist is palmar flexed. or flat, how about flat? Or less dorsiflex than the model we had. Maybe it's a little, we'll call it flat. And I'd say that just in that few minutes that if you look here where the shaft is parallel to the ground, can you see how the left wrist is like not, if anything, dorsiflexed here? So at P5 here, guys, I'd say the left wrist should be, Gina?
Dorsiflex.
Dorsiflex. And I think there's a perception out there that in most players, the left wrist at P5 is palmar flex. But I would say with most people with turned double action grips, the wrist at P5 would be dorsiflex. So yeah, the parameter on the grip that I would use, first thing I'd say is I like the strong grip. Okay, the turned dorsiflex grip, the double action grip for its mobility. And also when you pre-pronate the forearm at the setup, there's no rotation of the wrist going back. When I have the single action grip straight at the target, I have a lot more roll in the wrist. So I like the turn grip to take out the roll. And when it's turned and the shaft is down, that induces a dorsiflex, a cup. So when to control the face to the shaft, I have to keep the dorsi stable and not palmar to close the face. Okay?
In other words, Andy, would you say that starting with a certain amount of dorsiflexion, you would simply keep that same amount of dorsiflexion?
Yes. I'd say to make it simple, you just keep the cup. Or, left patch facing up. If I got some guy at a tournament, it's Wednesday night, we got 15 balls. Andy, I'm hooking it, slow that hook down. I'm going to say keep the patch up and the face back on the finish. Yeah, Chris, you want to go ahead and bang a few out there? Or I'm good if you guys are good. But if you want to watch him, I'd kind of like to watch him pound a few out there and slow down that overdraw.
I have one question for you.
Okay.
So earlier, I was going to ask you when I was coming up, you were talking about the 3 balls and the 9 iron.
Yeah.
And the loft, they get it, and the face to the shaft, they get it.
Yeah.
So all of this,
Yeah.
driver,
Yeah.
does driver then go in front?
I play the ball on the 0 line or just one ball back. And that would give me a couple of degrees of shaft lean. That would be the basis for my outward pad. Okay, if I want to hit a draw.
Full shots on these or just little punches?
You can start revving it up. There we go. There you go. Helps to have a good student.
So I've been getting caught up in
Here you go.
extension.
Yeah.
If I work on this, it should solve itself.
Say that again.
I've been getting caught up on early extension in an attempt to sort of get back here and get the path that way so that I'm getting rid of, I had some pulls, so then I've ended up this way, which is now...
So I would say you're trying to solve the pull by swinging to the right.
Yeah.
And I'd say you solve the pull by opening the face. And I think a lot of people try to open the face is close to the shaft. I think a lot of people try to open the face by swinging to the right, as opposed to twisting it around the shaft to open it up. Yeah, it's nice. Right up the address plane line, no curve. So I'd say to take the curve off, it would be the Gina, what causes the curve?
The face to path relationship.
The face closed. What caused the ball to overdraw? Face closed. And what causes the low point to be back? Tilting back. And what did I say to not tilt back? How to practice not tilting back? 3-0, moving the arms around the axis. The bowler backhand to reduce the side tilt. That would move the low point forward.
And then the point about the hip and this.
I say you learn to do that because I think that's going to really help the timing of it a little bit, not feel, I think the tilting back is you hurry in to get some energy. Right? You're trying to get some angular momentum in the frontal plane by tilting your spine, trying to get some speed like this because you're not swinging back as far.
It makes sense because I'm trying to hit it much slower.
So then, in which case I would say, keep the short swing and just move the arms around more to keep the trajectory down. Okay? I'll close and thank everybody here for your time today. I appreciate your attention. I appreciate this position that the PGA has given me to be here today.
I think it's crucial that you understand how your body works, how you as an individual work, but also what is required for a great golf shot. Notice how Andy controlled that whole situation. For me, I'm always learning because he's talking to teachers. So I like to look at, in addition to not just the information on hand, How did he capture the audience? What did he talk about? How did he communicate his information? And was it at a level that most of us out there can understand? If it wasn't, I know I captured a pretty good grasp of that. If you have a question, get it down in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer. By no means do we know everything that it takes to please the golf ball and put it from point A to point B, but it's fantastic to see people that are so engaged in the sport and want to help others. That's what this video and this upload was all about. Andy, I can't thank you enough for your time. SoCal PGA, amazing opportunity, and of course Clipped for putting me in that space. Check everything out down below in the description. We'll see you next time.